Jonathan Reyes had been a boy of prayer long before he became a soldier. Born in a small village, he was raised by his grandmother who never failed to read the Psalms to him each night. When storms rattled the windows, she would hold him close and whisper, "Remember this. Anak, Psalm 91 is your armor. If you trust God, no shadow can destroy you." Little Jonathan memorized the words. At age 7, when fever almost claimed his life, his grandmother knelt by his bed reciting, "He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge." By morning, the fever broke, and the doctor said it was a miracle. That memory never left him. Even when his grandmother passed away, her Bible, worn, fragile, and filled with her notes, remained his most precious possession. Jonathan joined the army not out of thirst for war, but to protect his country and provide for his struggling parents. Boot camp was brutal. He was mocked for kneeling to pray at night. Some laughed at his lucky verses, but ridicule only deepened his faith. During training, a live grenade accidentally slipped from a recruit's hand. In seconds, chaos erupted. Jonathan fell to the ground, whispering Psalm 91 under his breath. The grenade exploded, yet miraculously, though it landed just a few feet away. No one was killed. Shaken recruits stared at Jonathan. One muttered, "That prayer saved us." From then on, though they didn't always say it, many secretly respected his faith. Years later, Captain Reyes led men into one of the deadliest conflicts in modern history. The region they entered was a labyrinth of mountains and deserts. Every step threatened landmines, ambushes, and sniper fire. On the first night, under the eerie glow of moonlight, Jonathan read aloud from Psalm 91 to his squad. His voice was steady yet tender, like a father calming frightened children. "You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day." Some rolled their eyes, but others listened with tears in their eyes. The next day, the ambush came. The convoy crawled through a narrow gorge when sudden gunfire erupted. The enemy had the high ground, raining bullets and rockets upon them. Soldiers screamed, some hit instantly. Jonathan dove behind cover, but instead of trembling, he prayed, "1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you." Bullets whistled past his head, striking the ground inches away. One pierced his sleeve but missed flesh. Another dented his helmet without breaking through. To his men, it looked impossible. He was standing in the open, dragging wounded comrades to safety, yet untouched. After the battle, a young private said, "Sir, I swear I saw bullets curve away from you." Jonathan smiled gently. "Not curve, God's hand blocked them." Weeks later, while patrolling a forested ridge, Jonathan's unit was cornered. Enemies outnumbered them 5-1. Retreat was impossible. Just as the soldiers prepared for death, Jonathan lifted his voice. "For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone." Suddenly, a thick fog rolled into the valley, unnatural and swift. Visibility dropped. Confused, the enemy fire ceased. Under cover of the fog, Jonathan led his men out safely. Hours later, when the fog lifted, they realized they had been standing in a field of hidden landmines. Had they moved in daylight, none would have survived. The men were silent. Some crossed themselves. Others whispered, "God sent the fog." One humid night in the jungle, Jonathan was bitten by a deadly cobra while searching for supplies. His men panicked. The venom was known to kill within an hour. But Jonathan simply sat on a log, breathing steadily, whispering, "You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra. The young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot." Minutes turned to hours. No fever, no swelling, no death. By dawn, the venom seemed powerless. His men were dumbfounded. Some fell on their knees, believing for the first time in the god. Another ambush came weeks later, fiercer than any before. Explosions tore trees apart, machine guns roared. The squad was pinned down, certain death looming. But Jonathan stood in the open, unshaken, firing back calmly, his lips moving in constant prayer. "Lord, you are my fortress." A rocket-propelled grenade streaked toward their position. The men braced for death, but the weapon malfunctioned mid-air, exploding harmlessly far away. Cheers erupted. The men fought back with renewed courage, driving the enemy away. Later, Jonathan found his Bible pierced by shrapnel. The metal had torn through the pages. Stopping just at Psalm 91, he pressed it to his chest, tears filling his eyes. Not every day was filled with miracles. Jonathan saw friends die. He buried comrades. He held men as they breathed their last. His heart broke, and doubt whispered cruelly, "If God protects you, why not them?" One night alone, Jonathan wept. He opened his Bible, trembling. His eyes fell on the final promise. "Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation." Jonathan realized God's promises weren't only about this life. His fallen brothers who believed were not lost. They were in eternal refuge. His tears turned to peace. After months of relentless war, Jonathan finally returned home. His uniform was torn, his body scarred, but his faith unbroken. Crowds cheered him, medals pinned on his chest. Yet when asked about his bravery, he only said, "It wasn't me, it was God. Psalm 91 kept me alive." He visited his grandmother's grave, kneeling with his battered Bible. "Lola," he whispered, "you were right. His word is armor. I have seen his salvation." Jonathan spent his remaining years sharing his testimony with young soldiers. He told them of the bullets that missed, the grenade that failed, the cobra that could not kill, and the fog that saved them. But more than miracles, he taught them about trust. "Psalm 91 isn't magic," he said gently. "It's about a relationship. When you dwell in the secret place of the Most High, you live under his wings. That's where fear ends." His story spread far beyond his unit, inspiring countless lives. And until his final breath, Jonathan lived as a man hidden in the shadow of the Almighty. Long before Jonathan became Captain Reyes, he was a small boy, terrified of the dark. When the lights went out, shadows seemed to crawl on the walls, and every creak of the bamboo house made him shiver. One night after a power outage, he cried under his blanket. His grandmother came holding a candle. She sat beside him and whispered Psalm 91 softly. "You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day." Jonathan asked, "Does God really see me in the dark?" She smiled and pointed upward. "Even in the blackest night, Anak, his wings cover you. You are never alone." From that night on, Jonathan's fear of darkness faded. He realized that true light wasn't from lamps, it was from God's presence. Back to the battlefield. After months of mountain warfare, Jonathan's unit was reassigned to a desert outpost. The heat was merciless. Food was scarce. Supplies were ambushed before reaching them. The men grew restless. Tempers flared. Some cursed God openly. One soldier, Corporal Diaz, sneered on, "Captain, where's your Psalm 91 now? Do your verses bring water from the sand?" Jonathan said nothing at first. But that evening he knelt in the blazing heat and prayed aloud. "Lord, you promised in your word, provide for your children." At dawn, the men awoke to find crates of supplies, parachuted nearby, dropped mistakenly, by another unit, but landing exactly at their camp. Water, food, medicine, all they needed. Corporal Diaz stared in shock. Jonathan only said, "The Lord provides." In rare, quiet moments, Jonathan read letters from his parents. One letter stood out. "Son, every night we pray Psalm 91 over you. Your father and I believe God's angels are surrounding you. Come home safe, Anna. The Lord is your refuge." The letter made Jonathan weep silently. He tucked it inside his Bible, near Psalm 91. Whenever the battle raged hardest, he would feel that letter against his chest, a reminder that he wasn't fighting alone. During one mission, Jonathan's unit was pinned down by airstrikes. Enemy jets screamed overhead, dropping bombs that lit up the horizon like fiery suns. Explosions shook the ground, dust and debris blinding their eyes. Soldiers screamed in terror. Jonathan knelt in the open field, raising his arms toward the heavens. "He shall cover you with his feathers. His truth shall be your shield and buckler." A bomb fell directly toward them. But at the last second, it failed to detonate, embedding into the earth like a harmless stone. The squad broke into stunned cries of relief. Later, engineers confirmed the bomb was fully armed. There was no natural reason it should not have exploded. One soldier whispered, trembling, "Sir, angels caught it." But faith was not without testing. After losing a dear friend, Sergeant Velasco, Jonathan wrestled with grief. He sat alone, asking God, "Why him and not me? Did I not pray enough?" That night he dreamed. In the dream, Velasco stood smiling in brilliant light. "Don't mourn for me, Captain. I am home. The same God who sheltered you has sheltered me eternally. Keep the faith. Lead them." Jonathan awoke with tears, but also with peace. He realized Psalm 91 was not only about protection from physical harm, it was about eternal salvation. One evening, Jonathan's squad captured an enemy fighter. He was young, barely 20, trembling with fear. Other soldiers wanted revenge, but Jonathan stopped them. Instead, he gave the prisoner food and water, then opened his Bible. Through a translator, he read Psalm 91 to him. The enemy soldier began to weep. "Your God, he sounds merciful. I have never known mercy." That young man later converted, laying down his arms permanently. Even in war, God's word broke through hatred. Near the end of the campaign, Jonathan's unit faced their greatest battle. Surrounded on all sides, ammunition running low, the men braced for slaughter. Jonathan stood tall, lifting his Bible high. "Brothers, repeat after me," he shouted above the gunfire. Together, voices rang out. "He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him I will trust." The enemy charged, but at that moment, reinforcements arrived unexpectedly, storming in from the rear. The tide turned. Jonathan's men survived. Later they learned reinforcements weren't scheduled to arrive for another day. Somehow orders had been changed. No one knew who gave the command. Jonathan only smiled. God did. After years of service, Jonathan returned home. His body bore scars, but his soul was whole. Crowds hailed him as a hero, but he always deflected the glory back to God. In his village church, he stood before children and read Psalm. His voice trembled with emotion. "Children," he said, "bullets cannot break God's promises. Bombs cannot cancel his word. Trust him, and you will live under his wings." Parents wept. Young men listened with shining eyes. And Jonathan knew his mission wasn't over. It had only changed. Jonathan lived a long life, mentoring soldiers, comforting widows, and teaching the next generation to trust the Almighty. Whenever fear gripped the nation, people asked him to read Psalm 91. His story spread far beyond his homeland, inspiring faith across the world. Even in old age, his eyes burned with the same fire of faith. And when he finally passed away peacefully in his sleep, his Bible lay open at Psalm 91. His tombstone bore these words, "Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation." Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos.